Isn't it fucked up? You just made the most amount of commissions you've ever made in your entire life. You've been chasing about this shit. You've been dreaming about this shit. So why are you feeling lost or complacent? I just want to assure you that you're not the only person going through this. I've gone through this when I had my first 10K a month in commissions, when I had my first 20K a month in commissions. It was the worst when I had 30. It was almost like, as Hormozy calls, like a rock top moment, as first world problem as that is. When I had 30, I almost lost a sense of purpose. I was like, dude, what do I do now? I almost felt empty. It's interesting, isn't it? Because, you know, my parents, Asian parents, they wanted me to become a doctor, okay? And when I was studying physical therapy, which in their eyes was kind of like being a doctor, so they're very happy about that. I would have made like what I made, like 36K a month. It would have taken me an entire year to make that. While I'm massaging random men's legs, right? And while I'm trying to just smelling their smelly feet and massaging their feet and just grinding my life away for like 10, 12 hours a day, physically, having no freedom. But when that 36K a month in commissions hit my bank account, I hit the dopamine hit. I was like, holy fuck, that just hit that, man. That just hit that. But after that, I was like, nothing changed. So I remember calling up my buddy. I was calling up Jun. I was like, yo, Jun. He's like, yeah, what's up? And he saw my tone. He heard my tone. He's like, dude, you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm okay. It's just 36K commissions. Just hit my bank account. I was like, dude, that's fucking awesome, man. I was like, no, it's just, I just thought it'd feel, I don't know, I just thought it'd feel a bit different. So that was an interesting thing because I thought, man, I was chasing after 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month, 30 grand a month for the longest time. I was chasing after this. Like, man, when I finally get this, I'm gonna feel this way. I think Hormozy or somebody calls it a when-then fallacy, where when I achieve X outcome, then I'll feel X way. But it's good to have something to look forward to. At the same time, what I found is that if you put something on a pedestal, and if you put too much expectation on it, then when that thing happens, and when you achieve so outcome, then you almost feel a bit like down. The reason why this happens is, I never understood this until I came across a phenomenon called the Olympic blues, okay? So Michael Phelps, I think he won like 6 gold medals in the Olympics, a legendary swimmer, right? When people think of swimming, people think of Michael Phelps. He was saying in an interview, he was saying that, hey, you know when the Olympians, you know what, when they feel the most depressed? And the interviewer is like, when is that? It's like right after they win an Olympic gold medal.
2004 was my first taste of post-Olympic depression. You know, coming off such a high, and it's basically you get to like the edge of the cliff, and you're like, cool, now what? Because coming off of that high after doing something you set out to do your whole entire life.
Because imagine this. You're looking forward to something, which is the Olympics, and winning the gold medal. You're picturing and you're visualizing, and you're sacrificing. You're in the swimming pool, whatever the fuck you're doing the whole day. All your friends, your family, they're going out, partying, eating dinner, spending time with each other, resting up, watching Netflix, but you're just grinding it out. You're getting after it. You're getting training. You're spending thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in training and improving your skill set. You're moving cities. You're making sacrifices. You want to see your woman. You want to see your friends. You want to see your family. You want to travel. You want to quit. You're throwing up. You're like, dude, I can't do this shit anymore. But you keep pushing. You keep going after it. Finally, Olympic day comes. You're like all nervous, right? Like, oh shit. Thousands of people watching you, right? You hear it's like loud, like competition. They're talking shit, right? They're like, oh, Michael Phelps ain't shit. And they're talking shit on social media. They're talking shit in person. You get there, then you're a bit nervous, you know? You've been doing this for quite a while, but you still feel a bit nervous. But you finally get there. You feel the adrenaline. You finally win. The gold medal just hit your face. Everybody's like cheering for you. It's like, yeah. Your coach is like hugging you. You get text messages left, right, and center. You go back to your empty hotel room. It's quiet. It's quiet, you know? It's peaceful. It's like, where'd the crowd go? What do I do now? So that's when a lot of people feel rushed, because you hit such a high emotionally. You hit such a high. You win all your competitors. You win the gold medal. It's like everybody congratulating you. Then like you go back to quiet. It's like silence. This is called the Olympic blues. And what I found is that us sales reps, we go through the same shit. And it's almost nobody's talking about this, but I mean, I've gone through it. A lot of our members that come in through our licensing program, Real Sales System, once they get to 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month, 30 grand a month, whatever it may be, they're like, dude, Brian, it's like, I don't know, I just thought it would feel a bit different, you know? Or it's not like it's a bad thing, don't get me wrong, right? Don't get me wrong, they're able to travel more, they're able to move into better apartments, send their parents spending money, pay for their mother's mortgage, get their dream car. At the same time, they're like, what do I do now? They almost lose a sense of purpose, right? It's very first world problems, I know. I'll tell you what I learned in life, okay? It's not that problems never go away, it's just that we just level up into higher quality problems. Because think about this. Right now, if you're in, if you're in high ticket sales right now and you want to hit that 10K, 20K, 30K a month, whatever your goal is. Or let's say you're in in-person sales, you're in door-to-door, corporate sales, home improvement, car sales, whatever it may be. You want to transition into an industry where you have more level of flexibility. You can set your own schedule, sell remote, sell to warmer leads, have higher commission ceiling. By the way, if you want that, that's what we help our members with inside our licensing program, Real Sales System. So you should check it out. First link in the description box below. No income claims by any means, no guarantees. If you want a safe guarantee, I suggest you go flip burgers at Burger King. This is only for intelligent, hardworking sales reps that take full responsibility for their own success. Because those are the people that have the highest likelihood of success inside of a program or in life in general. Back to the topic. When they get to that point, they're like, yeah, Brian, I've been a bit complacent. So maybe they go back, their commissions drop after hitting their record month, right? This happens quite often for sales reps across all in general, right? They hit the highest month and they go back to the default. Why? Because oftentimes, there's different reasons for that, right? For a lot of times, because they get complacent. They're like, oh shit, I'm doing good. I'm already hitting this much, right? They're comparing themselves with their before state, right? What they're used to. So if a rep hit 20K a month, they're comparing themselves on when they're hitting 10 grand a month. Or they may be comparing themselves with their hometown people, the people they grew up with. Obviously, they're going to be further behind. But here's the thing. If we only compare ourselves with people or the version of ourselves that's behind us and below us, what's the only thing we're going to keep getting? Well, pretty much more the same thing, right? We're only going to compare to my hometown people. You may be literally thinking this in your mind, or you may be subconsciously thinking this or believing this without even you realizing, which is why blind spots are super fucking dangerous. Which is why we all need a third party that's going to hold ourselves to the highest possible standard, which is the environment you would curate inside of Real Sales, by the way. So we want to be inside of an environment where we feel so uncomfortable and so insecure. So we're going to go into some solutions right now. How I always put it is once we conquer one mountain, we must conquer the next mountain to conquer. Because once we climb so hard to get to the mountain, which is your initial commission goal, which is your initial goal, the 10K a month is like a very dangerous place to be at for most sales reps, right? Because once you get to 10K a month, you can move out, right? You can move into a decent crib. You travel here and there. You go to a nice restaurant here and there, right? Maybe you blow some money on some stupid shit. You're like, oh, life's good. Because you're so used to the identity, the version of yourself, where maybe you're at your parents' house, maybe you weren't making that much money. This is a dangerous place to be at because guess what? Well, could you come back down to before where you were before? Yeah, you're gonna go back to before, which is no bueno, right? Especially once we taste success. Downgrading is the worst feeling ever. So going back to setting the next mountain to conquer, what does that mean? Well, we gotta set the next goal, okay? So as an example, I'll give you one example, okay? And I shared this one instead of members too. Once I had 10K a month, I went to the exact same thing. I can travel, da-da-da. I was like, okay, cool. Like next goal is obviously 20 grand a month. I hit that. And then 30 grand a month, I hit that. I was like, what am I doing now? Because when I was making like 20 to 30 grand a month in commissions, USD, I was in Colombia at the time, right? Not that I give a fuck about big booty Latinas. I'm sure they're great. That's not my personal interest. Not because of like the low cost of living, purely because of time zone. Because before I was selling in Korea, which is Australia time zone, and in Europe. So the time zone was not the most optimal to sell into US leads, which is why I went to South America for a little bit. And it was the easiest to get into. And when I got in there, my living expenses was like 1 grand a month, 1,200 a month, while making 20 to 30 grand a month, right? And I had a pretty decent apartment. I didn't need more. I was going to baller fucking gym. It was like 20 bucks a month for the gym membership. I was Ubering everywhere. I was ordering every day, ordering food every day. And it was still, I was spending jack shit. In that case, when human beings don't have a necessity for something, it does not require change, right? You ever heard of the saying, necessity is the mother of invention? Or necessity is the mother of innovation, something like that. It's not that we have to invent the fucking light bulb, but what I am saying is that human beings, we want to preserve energy as much as possible. From an evolutionary standpoint, also it's very cool to study evolutionary psychology, by the way. So when we're in caveman times, our number one goal is to preserve energy. Because why? Dude, we don't know if we have to fight another tribe and fight to the death. We don't know if a saber-toothed tiger or saber-toothed mammoth is gonna just barge into our cave and we have to fucking protect our women and all that kind of things. We could die, right? We need to preserve energy. We still have that encoded into our DNA, still to this day, by the way, after all those years. Which is why people are lazy, right? People don't want to get off the couch, even though they know they need to go to the gym to work out, right? I've done that too. And so human beings don't want to preserve energy. So therefore, we need a reason to use the energy, right? And really push yourself to our limit. Now, what is that reason? Now, for that overweight person, for the fat person, that example would be them realizing that, oh shit, if I keep being like this, then I'm gonna have a heart attack and die, and I'm not gonna make it to my children's wedding. No bueno. That is a big enough reason. A bigger reason than them wanting to stay on the couch. Right? People love comfort, which is why most people are average. If you're watching this, you're not average. Because if you were, you would not be able to focus for this long, right? You probably have like TikTok brain, what I call a Tick-tard. It's like, they cannot focus, but you're still here. That shows that you're at least somewhat, you have some level of commitment to you getting to your goal, higher version of yourself, right? So, same thing. People always say like, okay, like next goal is like 20 grand a month, 30 grand a month, so on and so forth. That's great. But if we don't have a good enough reason why and a strong enough driver behind it, we have no reason to make the necessary sacrifices, risks, effort, and time and money into us hitting that next goal. But if you just say like 20 grand a month, right? And sometimes I ask people, right? I ask sales reps, like, okay, so your goal is this. First of all, the worst answer is, okay, how much money do you want to make? Let's say 3 to 6 months from now. Well, I don't know, sky's the limit. Retarded answer. Why? If we don't have a target, how are we supposed to hit the fucking target? Let's say you get out of your house right now, and then you start getting in your car. It's like, well, I don't know where I'm gonna go, but maybe I'll get somewhere. Are you gonna get anywhere? You're gonna get nowhere, right? But if you type in the GPS, you know what? Today, I want food. What kind of food do I want? You know what? I really want Chinese food. Okay, what kind of Chinese food? I want fucking Kung Pao chicken. All right, Panda Express. Where's the nearest Panda Express? You type it in the GPS, your car's gonna take you exactly there. But if we don't, we're gonna waste a lot of unnecessary fuel, time, mental bandwidth on the roads. That's how life works, right? So going back to this, we gotta have an exact target. So, in a time frame. Okay, so maybe you wanna make 100 grand a month, that's great. But if you are at 10 right now, could you get there next month? Maybe, maybe not. So we gotta chunk it down, right? So, if your goal, let's say you're at 10 grand a month, you wanna get to 30, okay? And you wanna get there in the next, you know what? I give myself 3 months. Perfect, 3 months. What do I gotta do? But also, first, before we do that, it's probably like one of the only physical books I have, right? It's called Start With Why. It seems like a very cliche, personal, helpy book, but I read the book while I was in the military, and that particular book I got as a gift from my former boss when I was a 7th. And I keep that book because while it seems very cliche, the boring fundamental is what most people ignore, which is why they don't get there, right? So Viktor Frankl in the book, Man's Search for Meaning, I believe he says something like, man can bear anyhow as long as he knows the why, right? Long story short. If we have a good enough reason why, if you're still here, you probably have some level of intellect and some level of work ethic, where if you put your mind to something, you can make it happen. Historically, you might have showed signs and history of that and proof of that, where when you put your mind into something, you made it happen, right? If you got to 10 grand a month as an example, whether it be in sales, whether it be life, sports, whatever, previous career, your fitness, whatever it may be. Like when you put your mind in something, you probably have a likelihood of actually you making that happen. Why? Because you put your mind into something. When I say you put your mind into something, you got a good enough reason, good enough driver for it. And so you just gotta refresh it. Right? You just gotta get fresh new drivers behind it. So I'll give you examples from mine. So I told you why I wanted to get to 10K a month. I wanted to move out. My parents told me, hey, you gotta become a physical therapist. I wanted to just not do that, do what I wanted to do, have more freedom, travel the world, those kind of cliche things. And then later on, once I had like 30, I was like, what do I do now? Well, I saw what was really possible outside of the little well I was in, okay? So in Korea, there's a saying called frog in a well. What that is imagine like a well, right? Here's a well, and deep inside, let's say this is the well, right? Deep underneath, a frog is here, okay? So this dark, cold, only thing he sees is a circle, which is the sky, right? And so this is the only thing the frog knows. The well is like, oh, this is how the world works. Until another frog comes along, he's like, hey dude, what are you doing out there? There's a whole other world out there. He's like, really? Yeah, dude, come on up. And the frog comes out, he's like, he sees, okay, butterflies, he sees fat people, he sees straight people, he sees gay people, he sees, okay, there's a pizza. It's like, what is this? Like, I don't know, the whole other world out there. This is fucking amazing. The same thing. What I did after Colombia was I went back to Korea, first of all, went back home for a little bit, spent time with family. And after that, eventually I went to Dubai because I wanted to see what it's like. Because I've been to bigger cities. I've been to Vegas, I've been to LA, I've been to New York, right? Like I keep hearing about this Dubai, right? I see Instagram, on my phone and people talking about it. I see YouTube videos. It looks rad, but I kept having limiting beliefs and excuses for myself, right? What if it's too hot? Oh, I gotta get my visa. I don't have enough money. So you know what? Enough is enough. Let me fucking go. Like how much longer? Like life is fucking short. I could die tomorrow. My best friend from high school, when I was 21, he was 20. He died at 20, right? He thought he had tomorrow. I thought he had tomorrow, but he's not with us anymore. So I was like, yeah, I could die tomorrow. It sounds cliche, but I saw it firsthand, right? I was like, I could die tomorrow. So book that flight, book that hotel, I go over there. And I saw a whole nother world. What is out there? I saw like these crazy, like the world's tallest building, Burj Khalifa. And I'm having dinner there with this fucking $60 pasta that's like this amount of fucking pasta. And I saw people getting out of these fucking cars, like Rolls-Royce Cullinan. I didn't even know the names back then. Rolls-Royce Cullinan, G-Wagon, Ferrari, Lamborghini. Even if you're not into these cars or like materialistic, so on and so forth, like stay with me because you'll get the lesson behind it. These are $250,000 cars. These are $600,000 cars. Bugattis, Paganis, these are $5 million cars. These people have $5 million for a fucking car. They're getting out, right? I didn't know back then, but they have a watch on the wrist. It's like a $80,000 gold AP Patek. Some people have like, you know, these watches, right? And I see these dudes that's maybe my height. I'm 5'6", okay? Maybe shorter than I am. They're like, their belly hanging out, bald, like maybe older, 40, 50 years old. Next to like some Barbie doll looking stunning girl that's maybe like 23-year-old. And when you look, and again, you can say that, oh, you know, gold digger, he's like a fucking sugar daddy. Like that's besides the point. I just saw like a whole nother fucking world out there, right? I like jet skied next to the world's 7-star hotel, the only 7-star hotel. And then I had this food and I had this level of service where the staff comes up to you and they treat you like a king. Right? It's like, hey, sir, would you like this? Would you like that? I was like, huh. I've flown business class, first class. I'm laying down in the sky and man, there's a whole nother world out there. Even if you're not into this materialistic stuff, I challenge you and invite you to actually go try it because you may fucking like it or you may hate it, but at least you found out. Whole point I'm trying to make is that these things cost more money, right? And even if you're not into this materialistic stuff, also bear in mind that you probably have a family, right? Whether it be you have a girlfriend, wife, children, parents, whatever it may be, or somebody you just care about in your life. And just realize that at some point, them and yourself are going to need serious medical care. Knock on wood, of course. But it's not an if thing, it is a when thing, where they will need medical care. And these medical care, do you want to get them into like some mediocre average, you know, medical care? Do you want to like penny pinch? It's like, fuck, we're not money. Do you want to do that? Or do you want to get to, you know what, like, where's the best doctor? Where's the best hospital? How much is it? 30 grand? Well, here it is. Please go fix it. No hesitation. Which guy do you want to be? I told myself I want to be the second guy. Right now you may have a woman, maybe you want to get a beautiful woman, beautiful women, whatever your preferences is. Do you want to get like average looking chick that's going to yell at you to take out the trash and do the dishes, who don't respect you, who only give you a dry hand job on your birthday? Or do you want to get a beautiful looking woman, not only physically, but also interpersonally? She cooks you omelet. She'll do anything for you. She'll delete her Instagram for you. She'll cut out negative people in her life. She's not gonna party. She's not gonna drink. Do you want that kind of woman? Well, to get that kind of woman, we cannot be an average guy that's just making 10 grand a month, right? 10 grand a month, dude. 10 grand a month was like the holy grail back in the days. Right now, 2026 going onwards, inflation's so out of control. And don't forget, I mean, there's tax, right? Like after tax and inflation covering your bills, how much you're left at the end of the month? You know what I'm saying? Like probably, I don't know, maybe 5 grand a month, maybe less. What are you gonna do with that? You know, I'm not trying to put you down or trying to demean you in any way. I'm just trying to give you a sense of reality that the world is changing. The world is not the same anymore. So the long story short is I saw what that's like. It's like, man, I want to give my parents, my woman, not just like a regular, I want to fly them first class, eventually into a private jet. I want to get them into a Rolls Royce. I want to give them everything. Medical care, whatever. Best food, best restaurant, best everything. No like penny pinching and shit like that. No, like best experiences. Because when we look back at our life at the end of the day, we're not really gonna remember the Rolls Royces, the watches, whatever it may be, but we will remember for sure the unforgettable moments. And in order for us to have the unforgettable moments, guess what it costs? More money, a different type of money. There's levels to this game, right? So whatever the thing may be for you, if it is to retire your parents, if it is to pay off their mortgage, if it is to buy them a home, if it is for your woman, if it is for whatever, right? Popping bottles, whatever the thing is, just be honest. Not just what sounds good because I said it or someone else said it on Instagram, but what genuinely drives you deep in your core. Don't overthink this. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overanalyze. But write it down. Number 2, look up how much that thing's gonna cost. Most people don't do this part. They're like, oh, you know, retire my parents. How much is it gonna cost you? Let's calculate that. Set a time frame, put a plan together. If you don't know how to do it on your own, who can help you how to do this? Map that out too. We don't have eternity. Okay. Moving to Dubai, I talk to a lot of successful people, right? People that make millions a year, sometimes billions a year. And the number one biggest thing is, man, I wish I would have just found people who knew about this exact subject matter and just fucking pay them instead of me trying to learn on my own. Like at that point, they don't do that shit, right? Sometimes they make me feel stupid in a good way. It's like, Brian, like, why are you trying to learn this shit? Like, just pay someone. It's like, oh, fuck. You know what I mean? We don't have eternity. So whenever you see people that feel like they're getting further ahead than you, but they're not as smart as you, they actually seem dumb. It's because of this. They're not trying to do it on their own. They're just like, who knows how to do this? Okay, here you go. Boom. Either do it for me or like teach me how to do this, depending on what that thing is. So if you're one of those smart, intelligent people that's working hard, right? Whether you're in in-person sales right now, door-to-door, car sales, home improvement, corporate sales, whatever it may be, you want to get into high-ticket sales to sell to warmer leads, higher commission ceiling, sell remote, become a better provider. Or you're in high-ticket sales right now, you're trying to get to 20K, 30K a month, whatever it may be. That's what we help our members with inside of our licensing program, Real Sales System. No income guarantees whatsoever. If you want a safe guarantee, I suggest go flip burgers at Burger King. But if you're the type of person that works hard, has high intelligence, is willing to take full responsibility for their own success, like we all should, then you can go to the first link in the description box below. You can fill out an application. You can see if you qualify. Talk soon.